an indigene of Anambra State. The Senate knows that a Deputy Director General of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, CIIN, a mother and an indigene of Anambra State, was found dead in a room at the Emperor's Palace Hotel and Convention Center on June 13, where she lodged. Further note that she went to South Africa to attend the conference of the African Insurance Organization, AIO, and initially it was suspected that she died of cardiac arrest. Aware that the insinuation was proved wrong following the autopsy report released on June 20, 2019 by the South African Department of Home Affairs, which indicated in a death certificate that the death was unnatural and suspected to be murder. Further aware that the suspicion that she could have been murdered was further confirmed in a separate document issued by the South Africa's Department of Health on June 27, 2019, where it corroborated the autopsy report and revealed that she was strangled. Concerned that in a curious twist, it was alleged that the Emperor Palace Hotel and Convention Center, where she lodged, was reluctant to cooperate with the law enforcement agencies to unravel the circumstances surrounding her suspicious death in their hotel. Note that this is not the first time Nigerians have died in suspicious circumstances and curious circumstances in South Africa. In fact, Sahara Reporters has detailed deaths of a lot of Nigerians dying like that, and in Sahara Reporters on the 6th of April also reported the death of a certain Boni Waha from Ihitubom in Imo State, murdered in front of his house, and sometime 2 weeks ago, another Nigerian was also killed in his house where the police said they came to do an investigation into a drug deal. Accordingly, the Senate wishes to commend the federal government of Nigeria for its prompt action in seeking the South African authorities' explanation of the death of Mrs. Ndubuisi Chukwu. Second, to urge the federal government not to relent in its efforts to unravel the circumstances of her unfortunate demise. Third, to urge the South African government to carry out investigation into the death of Mrs. Chukwu and other Nigerian citizens who have continually died in suspicious circumstances while in South Africa. I so submit, Mr. President.
Senator.
Mr. President, honorable distinguished colleagues, I think this is one too many. The earlier we engage with South Africa to really know or to find out what is happening with our citizens up there, the better. I can't, in the recent part, count the number of times that we have to go through this. And this is coming from a supposedly friendly country, a country that Nigeria has invested so much in terms of finance, in terms of capital development, in terms of independence. And yet, we are going through this. The last time I had this motion was just before I left the House, and there was a story of gruesome murder of innocent souls that have not done nothing wrong to anybody. It was ascertained, even in the report, that was conducted by the South Africans, that those people were legitimately in the country, so they were not illegal immigrants. One. Two, it is confirmed that they have work to do, they earn their living, so they are not miscreants, they are not stupid people. Yet, just because of, would I say, ethnic or tribal, issues that started in between the two groups within the South African country, it affects our citizens. I want this distinguished Senate to please set a high-powered delegation to invite, or committee to invite South Africans ambassador to this country and explain why. Because as long as we begin to accept this and treat this with kid glove, then more Nigerians will die innocently. And they have their citizens into this country. They have their investment, massive investment that we see capital plight going here, but because of the African spirit, we allow this thing to happen. So my take on this, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, is to please and please not even waste time on this anymore. We have to get, and we should demand for, after the investigation, we should demand for compensation for innocent souls lost in that country, because this is one too many. Every time we come here and mourn our citizens innocently, when their citizens are enjoying the best of everything in this country. Thank you, Mr. President.
Attacks, Mr. President, is unacceptable. Just like distinguished Senator Keita said, they have businesses in this country. We have not attacked their businesses. But I think that it is high time that the government do something about this, because I think those that are carrying out this attack might not even realize what happened, how musicians will sing Fire in Soweto, and so many things, and how Nigerians were even contributing money and even salaries to put together to ensure that they were liberated. But unfortunately, what are we getting for it? Rather, we're getting attacked, we're getting our people who are living legally in South Africa, doing legal business, being killed for nothing. Mr. President, I think that the federal government needs to engage them and ensure that something is done so that our citizens will not live in fear and will not continue to be killed. Mr. President, with these few remarks, I want to say I support this in its entirety, and we should have a high-level delegation, a high-level probably committee from the Foreign Affairs should be immediately set up, urging the federal government to engage them so that we can ensure that our citizens are safe and that our citizens can go about their normal businesses in South Africa. Thank you, Mr. President.
We work hard also to better our relations with South Africa, because Nigeria played a key role in what is today known as South Africa. I must say, as an individual, I have not had any interest in visiting South Africa because of the stories coming from there about, hate behavior, that hostile behavior towards Nigerians and things like that. I was on flight with a diplomat or a UN worker who told me she was from South Africa. I said, incidentally, that is a country I've never visited. They said, why? Nigerians go there a lot. I said, no, I don't like the stories coming there, because we are supposed to be brothers with South Africa. We were there for them when they needed us most. So I don't think when things are good for them now, we should be seen as enemies. So we're supposed to work as brothers, should be our brothers' keepers. More so that our foreign policy centers on the love for all Africans. So I think, Mr. President, this motion is good, and let us handle this matter with a very, refined approach.
President, sadly, the lady in question is from my constituency, and I want to thank the minority leader for bringing this sad news to this chamber. Mr. President, it's very important for you to know that we've been losing souls in South Africa almost on a weekly basis, most especially people from my state, Anambra State. And from information we gathered, the Nigerian embassy in South Africa is not doing much to protect our citizens. So in support of what the motion, I would like us to invite, if possible, representatives from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, if possible, send a very strong worded letter to Nigerian embassy in South Africa to give us narratives of how many lives we've lost in South Africa. Thank you, Mr. President.
I want to join and support the motion brought forward by the minority leader. Only a few weeks ago, I was in South Africa, and I visited both the embassy, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and it's the same topic I went to ask them. I even interacted with 3 former presidents on this issue, because the way and manner, whenever South African airline lands in Johannesburg, they will start pursuing all Nigerians that are in that airplane. Especially when they think you have some money, they will track you to the hotel. They will track. This is not first time somebody is dying in the hotel. It's not the second time. It's not the third time. So federal government of Nigeria must redefine our relationship with South Africa, because killing these officials, she went on the federal government delegation.
Central. I stand to fully support the motion moved by the minority leader and the comments and submissions by my colleagues. Mr. President, you remember in the 8th Senate, there was a similar problem like this, and I remember there was a joint National Assembly delegation, very high-level delegation, led by the then Deputy Senate President, with the House leader also in the delegation, to try to resolve this kind of thing. They went to South Africa, they met our people, they met the parliamentarians there, trying to resolve this matter. It is very unfortunate that despite Nigeria's good gesture, right from the apartheid days, when Nigeria was considered as one of the frontline states, despite the fact that we are geographically contiguous to South Africa, we play a very prominent role. Many South Africans were given asylum here. They stayed here, they were given jobs, they were provided, we paid a lot of money. We are very relevant and very, very effective and very, very prominent in the liberation of South Africa. It's unfortunate that having got their independence, South Africans decided to pay us in a different way. And it's also surprising that despite what has been happening, the xenophobia in South Africa, anytime you have xenophobia case, Nigerians are the worst victims. We have never had any case of retaliation here. They are very free here. Their businesses are the most lucrative business. They made billions and billions of naira. MTN Nigeria contributes more than 70% of MTN South Africa. DSTV is there, ShopRite, so many of them. No case of molestation of South Africans. I think, Mr. President, this thing should be taken to the next level, this issue of our relationship. I think, in addition to whatever we want to do, inviting the ambassador, talking to our people there, I think we should call on Mr. President to personally intervene in this matter, because it is just high time this thing stopped. Otherwise, it cannot continue at infinitum, because one day our people will begin to retaliate, and it is nobody's interest, because they cannot continue to suffer us, kill us, harass us, despite our relevance, despite the money they're making on us here in Nigeria. There is no country that's making money more than South Africa in Nigerian economy today. So there's no reason why we should continue to be harassed. So whatever prayers we have, I would like us to also call Mr. President to personally get involved in this matter with a view to resolving this matter so that we will live in peace as brothers, as real Africans. For example, today there's going to be a football match between Nigeria and South Africa, the African Cup of Nations quarter-final. Today, and I pray that we win, and we are going to win, inshallah. But I hope when we win, they are not going there in South Africa to try to now vent their anger on our people. That will complicate matters. I pray to God that we win this match and they accept defeat as we always defeat, because we are stronger, we are bigger in population, richer, everything. We are not comparable to them. So I think there's no reason why we should continue to be treated as junior citizens by South Africans. Thank you, Mr. President.
Let's go to the federal government not to relent in its efforts to unravel the circumstances of our unfortunate demise. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And prayer 3, urge the South African government to carry out investigation into the death of Mrs. Ndubisi Chukwu and other Nigerian citizens in such suspicious circumstances in South Africa. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Additional prayer, Betty Apiapi.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I'm Betty Apiafi, I represent Abuado Lahoda, federal constituency from River State.
Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Well, distinguished colleagues, thank you very much for the various interventions. Just like one of our colleagues said in his intervention, last year in the 8th Senate, this Senate debated on a very similar issue. And an ad hoc committee was sent under the leadership of the then Deputy President of the Senate to visit South Africa with the message that Nigeria as a country is tired of being killed, and therefore we believe that the relationship between South Africa and Nigeria must be better. There must be respect for each other. I agree completely with our colleagues who said South African businesses probably flourish more than any other businesses established in this country. And South Africans are safe, very well protected in Nigeria. There is no need for any South African to take the life of any Nigerian or indeed any other citizen. Nigeria was a frontline state, or considered to be one, even though, of course, we are far away in the west coast of Africa. And therefore, we deserve that respect. The relationship between our two countries must be based on mutual respect and understanding. We are members of the Pan-African Parliament, and Senator Betty Apiafi and I were then members in the last assembly. I believe that our next set of contingents to represent us on the Pan-African Parliament, which is based in South Africa, must ensure that these issues are brought to the fore. We are a responsible country. That's why we don't take the law into our hands in the way of retaliation. But we shouldn't be taken for granted. Nigeria tries to provide leadership for Africa, but in this leadership position, we should be also able to tell every African country the truth. We have taken this killing for too long, and I think the time has come for us as a parliament to tell the South African Parliament, because that is where South Africans are represented fully, that we have taken enough of this and we are not going to take it anymore. I believe that as a country, the executive arm of government has also protested, but we should support the executive arm of government so that together we are able to stop this kind of mindless and senseless killing of our citizens in those countries. Thank you very much.